Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on the C4, and as you can see here, we have a few parts that need to be installed. Everything we're going to do in this video is pretty simple, straightforward. Nothing is very technical at all. But before we get started, I just want to say that this video may end up in more of a compilation format, and that's just because between working full-time and family, it's hard for me to film a video like this in one sitting. So I apologize for that. I'll try my best to make it as smooth and efficient as possible so it looks good for you guys. But with that said, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to tackle is this privacy cover. It comes out and then it has retaining clips to hold it in place, but this side is missing that retaining clip, and as you can see, the cover kind of bunches up and is not held in place properly. So first thing I'm going to do is throw a new one on. It's only held in by 2 screws, so it's pretty simple. So I'll do that real quick. Okay, new retaining clip is on. And let's just see how it works. Awesome, works great. I do use this privacy cover a lot, so this is great that I have this new clip on there. Okay, so with the privacy cover looking good, the next thing I want to do is retract it, and as you can see, the speakers in the back are missing the Bose emblems, and so I got some new ones and I want to throw those on. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned the surface. There was some residual adhesive there, so I went ahead and scraped that off, wiped it down with some soapy water just to get any remaining residue or grease. And now I'll throw the new emblem on. Basically it has these 2 pegs on the back that go in the holes, and then a little adhesive strip to hold it in place. Okay, new Bose emblems are on and looking good. And the next thing I want to do is replace this Corvette emblem on the fuel door. Before I get started, I just wanted to show you guys, I don't know if this shows up very well on camera, but look how good the paint looks in the sunlight. It's a really, really cool color. So the emblem is just held in place with 2 nuts on the back. And I assume that there is some adhesive backing of some sort on this emblem, so probably have to clean that up and get it prepped for the new emblem. Okay, so I got the emblem off, and it's pretty time consuming. It's not the funnest thing to do, but just be patient if you're doing your own. And as you can see, there's some residual adhesive on there, so I'm just cleaning it up. I may take a little bit of rubbing compound to it and wax just to clean it up a little bit more. Okay, here's the finished product. Looks really, really good. Here's the old one. Night and day difference. So this really changes the whole look of the car. Turned out really good. So what I did was I took some soapy water and cleaned up the adhesive, and then I took some rubbing compound and just went around the edges and cleaned up the oxidation. So cleaned up really well. And this emblem's a metal one as opposed to plastic, which is nice. I should probably put some wax right here in these areas. I also used a clay bar just to decontaminate the surface a little more, but really happy with it. Looks really good. The next thing that needs to be done is these bulbs underneath the hood need to be replaced for these lights. One of them actually works. This one works, that one doesn't, but I'm just going to replace both of them. And I've noticed that these are real glass, these lenses. So if you're doing your own, just make sure you're really careful. If you drop them, they could shatter. Okay, new bulbs are in, and I took the lenses off and took them inside and scrubbed them down with soapy water and cleaned them up really good, so they look good. So now the moment of truth, I'm just gonna reconnect the battery. I've had it off just because I've had the hatch open and the hood open, but boom, success. The next thing I'm gonna work on is this fog light. As you can see, it's burnt out, and I have a new one here, so I'm gonna pop the hood and install the new one. So the fog light is down there, and it's kind of an awkward spot, so it should make this fun. So here the light is out, and what I did is just grab this tab right here and turned it counterclockwise and pulled, and it came right out. So pretty easy. Now I'll just put the new bulb on and reinstall it. Okay, the new bulb is on, and I'm gonna try and reinstall it without getting any dirt or grease on it so it doesn't ruin it. Here's a look at the old bulb. As you can see, the filament is broken, so this bulb was indeed toast and why the light wasn't working. Here you can see the new bulb is in and working as it should. It looks good, and now we can move on to the next item on the list. What I want to do now is take apart the intake, and I want to do that for a few reasons. The first is just to go through it and make sure that everything is there, there's nothing obstructing airflow, and there are no surprises. And then the next thing I want to do is clean the mass airflow sensor and the K&N air filter, since I have no idea when those were last cleaned. And then I also want to install this tune port injection airfoil, and I'll explain a little bit more about what this does in a minute. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I have no idea what this thing is. I'm guessing it's an air deflector of some kind. I found it down in the engine bay right here, just sitting there. But I'll clean it up and put it back in, but if you know, let me know. Here's a look at the air filter. As you can see, it's pretty dirty, but I think it could be worse. So what I'm gonna do is apply some K&N cleaning solution, rinse that off with the hose, let it dry, and then apply some filter oil. And I noticed that there's some coolant in the intake. I have no idea how that happened, but I'm gonna make sure I clean that out before I put it back in the car. So now I just want to talk about the airfoil that I mentioned earlier for the tune port injection system. So essentially this is a look at the tune port injection throttle body, and if you look in the middle of the throttle body, you can see that there's kind of some dead space in there, and what happens is air can get trapped in this dead space, and it prevents the air from flowing as smoothly as possible. It kind of creates some turbulence. So what the airfoil does is it acts as a diverter and kind of splits the airflow and ensures that the air is flowing smoothly into both ports of the throttle body. So here's what the airfoil looks like installed. So as you can see, it basically smooths out the airflow through those ports and down into the engine. The airfoil is kind of a hot topic for debate in the car community, and that's just because a lot of people don't think it's worth the money, and they don't think that it improves performance on the car. But my experience has been that it does. So if you guys saw my first video, I showed you my 1986 Camaro IROC Z that I had, and that was a tune port injection car. I installed an airfoil on that car, and I noticed that the throttle response improved. It felt like the car ran a little better, and I did feel like the car was a little bit more powerful. So based on that, based on my experience, I am going to install an airfoil on this car. It was only 30 bucks, so I think it's totally worth it. The design behind it makes sense, and then again, my experience has been that it works. The install for the airfoil is really easy. All you have to do is remove this tune port ejection plate from the top of the throttle body. It's just held in by 6 screws. And then you have this little bit that's supplied in the kit. And you just put that in the hole in the middle of the throttle body. And the kit also provides a screw. And essentially you put the foil in place, run the screw through the foil and the throttle body into the bit and tighten it down. Here's a look at the airfoil installed. I know every car is different, so I'll keep you guys posted on how the airfoil works out on this Corvette. So here's a look at the mass airflow sensor. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make a couple passes and spray it down with the mass airflow sensor cleaner that I got at AutoZone. And then clean the housing and put it back on. All right, here's everything cleaned up and ready to go back in the car. The filter will have to dry overnight, but I'll install everything else right now. And I also wipe down the engine bay a little bit where these parts go. The engine bay is still pretty dirty. I need to detail it, but looks better than it did. Before I put everything back together, I want to clean out all these leaves up under here. So this is where all the air is fed to the radiator, the air conditioning condenser, and the air intake. So I want to get all this crap out of here. This is everything I was able to pull out with my hands. As you can see, there was quite a bit of crap up there. Found a napkin, a screw, and a bunch of leaves. So I'm glad I looked up there and saw this there so I could clean it out. Hopefully this helps the car perform and breathe a little bit better. I have had the battery disconnected while I've worked on the car, and I just reconnected it and need to make sure that the car will start. So here we go. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna do is replace the Corvette emblem on the hood. And this is held on the same way as the emblem in the rear on the fuel door with 2 speed nuts and I assume some adhesive. And the speed nuts are accessible underneath the hood towards the front through these 2 holes right here. So I will remove those and the emblem should come off. Okay, so the emblem is off, and surprisingly there was no adhesive, so I won't have to clean that up, which is good. I will clean this area up with some soapy water and clay bar it and apply some rubbing compound to get rid of the oxidation. Here's a look at the area after I cleaned it up. So it's looking good, and I forgot to mention that I may or may not have dropped one of the speed nuts down inside the hood when I was taking them off. So that was kind of stressful because I didn't think I'd be able to get it out, but I was able to use a magnet and fish it out. So crisis averted. Here is the new emblem installed, and it's looking awesome. As I said, when I installed the emblem on the rear, this just changes the whole look of the car. Makes it look 10 years newer. And here's the new emblem compared to the old one. So as you can see, huge difference. All right, you guys, that about does it for this video. I did do a few things off camera. They were just little minor things. I didn't think they were worth recording. But the doors have been kind of creaking and popping. So I lubed them. Changed the PCV valve on the engine. I've been running some seafoam in the gas, and some of the valve stem caps on the wheels were missing, so I just replaced them with some black ones for now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Remember to subscribe and feel free to comment below. And that's it. Talk to you guys next time. Thanks.